Aubrey's dancing. Welcome back to Brashenomics. Aubrey, our dance machine over here.
I can't throw a perfect game, but I can boogie.
You can boogie, man. Aubrey Cohen joins us, the Seattle PI's resident real estate reporter. And welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's beautiful. It's going to be positively hot. There are going to be Seattleites melting in the streets the next couple of days.
Right? Because Seattle, if you're from Seattle, it's either you complain when it's rainy, you complain when it's hot.
Would you complain when there's any actual weather? If it's like, unless it's like 50 degrees and overcast, too much rain, too much hot, too cold, too hot. It gets to be in the high 70s. People start complaining.
Like 74.
78. Yeah, 74 is okay. 78's hot.
I love that mid 80s, low 90s. Oh, I love it. Well, welcome back, and it's good that I'm glad you're here because when we talk about real estate, you just wrote a couple articles just about King County house prices and what's been going on this year with them.
Well, we've been seeing in recent months, we finally started to have some year-over-year price increases. We've been seeing it for a while in Seattle now. In fact, we had several months of double-digit increases, and now we've had a couple of months of increases in King County. The interesting thing, or an interesting thing, was just this last month in July, we had King County prices, Seattle prices, after going up by double digits for a few months, fell back into the single digits, 6.3%, after 3 straight months in double digits. King County prices a little stronger, 7.2%, and then prices were kind of flat or a little down from June. So there are some signs that maybe the heat's getting turned down a little bit, but prices are still up.
Yeah, and it's a positive thing. A lot of it just being the fact that it makes everybody feel warm and fuzzy more than just the sunshine.
People like to feel like their houses are worth more, if they own a house. The flip side of this is there was another report out recently from the Runstad Center for Real Estate Research at the University of Washington. Housing affordability, after increasing for a while, we actually had several months of record affordability in their index. Now that affordability has fallen off a little bit. The numbers are pretty good. If you're looking for a resale house, the typical family makes well over the amount needed to afford to buy a typical house. But for those first-time home buyers, those families that are just ready to buy their first home, trying to buy a starter home, costs a little less, you're still you're making about 73% of the income you need to buy that starter house in King County.
Yeah, that's still pretty affordable.
Well.
If you need more, but you think about in King County, there's some really high paying jobs. I know you look at the median and means, but there's a lot of first time homebuyers that we look at that are still buying $500,000 houses, $600,000 houses.
Well, yeah. To your point, if the typical first time homebuyer family is making 73% of the income they need to buy a starter home, that means there are plenty of families out there that can afford it. And certainly, I've gone around open houses. I've seen young couples. They both work in tech, and they're looking at $600,000 houses. There are a lot of those families out there, and that is one of the things that has helped Seattle's market, particularly in recent months, is that we have these decent paying jobs. We have people come out of college and they can buy a really nice house. But there are also plenty of families that don't have those kind of jobs. They're making $50,000 a year, and
but not everybody's supposed to be a homeowner either. I think it's healthy when not every single person can just go buy a house.
Yeah, and that obviously was one of the lessons of the crash, is that, trying to get creative and get everybody to own a house isn't a good thing. So yeah, I do think that we should be trying to do things in Seattle and King County to help provide a greater range of housing choices for all kinds of families. And we have a decent number of apartments and condos, but maybe family-size apartments. We're getting townhouses, maybe getting the idea across that those can be an option for families. That's not typically been the case in Seattle. Because I think there are plenty of professional families that are not software engineers.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I guess to my point was simply that there are a lot of houses out there up and down the price scale. So sometimes just looking at, 72 or 73% hit that median range, for affordability, it doesn't sound that bad. It's better than 20% being able to afford it, right?
Absolutely. And it's better than where it was a few years ago. So that's a good thing. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with you.
Thank you.
Are we done?
Now that I got my point across, we're here with Aubrey Cohen, real estate reporter with the Seattle PI. Aubrey, so when you start looking at the amount of inventory and or the lack thereof, this really is kind of a change in the historical patterns, isn't it?
Yeah, generally speaking, rough rule of thumb is that if you look at the number of homes on the market divided by the number of sales in a given month, 6 months worth of inventory out there is kind of balanced between buyers and sellers. Well, in July, Seattle had 2.2 months worth of inventory. That's nothing. And that's why you have multiple offers and people writing love letters to a house. And pre-inspections, and I'm not sure how prevalent escalator clauses are these days, but yeah, my friends over here are nodding at me. And it's actually gotten so bad. I saw an article the other day. Actually, I'll say two things. First is I've now gotten 2 letters, unsolicited, people sending me letters in the mail saying, I'm looking to buy a house like yours. Will you sell it to me?
Yeah, the last time you were here, you had one. So another has happened in the last couple of weeks. This one was actually from an agent. Yeah, I've got a buyer. She's lost out on several multiple offer situations. She wants a house like yours in your neighborhood in case, if you're thinking about selling. Wow.
So, and that takes a lot of effort because my house is not particularly unique. So my guess is they're sending out a lot of those letters. So, and the other thing I saw recently that interested me was an article suggesting that some buyers may have gotten so frustrated that they're going to just give up for now and wait till next year, wait till the next spring selling season, and start looking then, because there's nothing sales. In fact,
just the buyer burnout.
Yeah, the buyer burnout. I mean, and if there's nothing to buy, at some point your sales are going to go down. In fact,
it's like the clearance sale, and all of a sudden there's nothing left on the racks.
Yeah, well, and this report from the Rundstad Center, statewide, they showed that the seasonally adjusted sales declined from the first quarter to the second quarter. There are actually more sales overall, but there are always more sales in the second quarter. So once you factor in that typical seasonal variation, sales declined. One factor could be the economy. The economy kind of slowed down a little bit. Another factor could just be, if there's not enough stuff to buy that you like, people might not buy it. King County sales were still up, so that kind of is a dent in that theory. But, at some point that could be a factor.
Yeah, I could imagine if you're out shopping for a house, and certainly the guys can talk to us a little bit more about it. But as you start going from house to house, and no matter how unemotionally involved Eric says he tries to keep people, but if you're writing love letters or you're like, oh man, this is the perfect house. You can only go through that roller coaster so many times where you might be like, look, this is just too much.
Well, and, most of us have jobs. And so the way it is now.
Except for the retired ones.
Yeah. Well, the way it is now, a house comes on the market. You've got to go see it that day pretty much. Or, if they're going to be accepting offers, say 3 days from now, that gives you a little bit more time. But a lot of times you have to go see it that day. You've got to sit down and write an offer. And some of us, have things to do. And
baseball games with the kids. There's so many. Yeah, there's life. Life goes on.
After a while, yeah, it's like having an extra job, and some of us can't afford that kind of time.
Yeah, well, Aubrey, let's go to break real quick because I want to bring Eric and Brad back so we can talk a little bit more and bring the agents in who might give us a little bit more insight.
All right.
Thanks for joining us. Good to see you. Aubrey Cohen joins us again, and he'll be right back after this break. You're listening to Brashenomics.